Hello, good evening, gentles. We are doing a bit of, well, centering at this point, and I don't mean feeling up your lychee nuts going, oh, mode portres, no, not that kind of centering. Because trust me, I'm not centered that way. I'm a little left of center, actually. Now, what you got to do basically with centering is you have to turn it upside down, and you have to get it so it doesn't wiggle woggle all over the place. And in order to do that, you got to be eyeballing it down the ring. I just happen to have gotten a bit lucky. I think it's either the exhaustion or the smelling of the Listerine earlier, one or the other. But the next thing you need is you need a bag of balls. That's what you need, because you're going to need two of them. Now, technically, they're not really balls. They're more of a tic-tac shape. And it's very sad to say, and yes, I am ashamed, but what I'm going to make is something called Mother's Arms. I'm sorry, Mom, your arms do not look like this. I'm sorry, you could be 100 years old. No one's arms should ever look like this. But what you're going to do is you kind of stretch it out there, and you feel kind of powerful when you do it, you know, stretching and getting a good grip on them. And then you're going to put them down like so, and you're going to gently press down. Well, this keeps the pot, when we start spinning it, from flinging off into the world, and then me using language inappropriate for a good potter. Well, at least on camera. Now, that entire description prior to this sounded filthy. Now, we're going to get this in, we're going to set it in like so, and what we're going to do is we have to trim this bottom. You do realize this is just going to get uglier. You know that, don't you? And yet you're still watching. First I've been centering, now I'm going to be trimming, and I'm going to be working on a nice bottom. That'll be a good thing. Can you tell it's been a long week? It has been a long week. We took down Hollow's Eve this evening. Well, we as in me, myself, and I. And managed to get them all in, 3 cases and stuff. Of course, I love the fact my neighbors have young children. And they were just playing and having a good time, and looked over and saw me as an old man, after doing a long day of work, stuffing bodies into boxes and folding the legs up. It was a joy, actually, because I just sort of stood there and went, and it was wonderful. Of course, I had my headphones on. I was screaming Gaga at the top of my lungs, which is wondrous as well. Now, first thing you need is a trimming tool. Remember, it's all about the tool when it comes to trim. If you use too big a tool, you're going to punch a hole through the bottom. Too little a tool, you're not going to have much effect. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get this spinning here, and you'll notice there's no sound. It's because I do everything by leg at this point. Alright, no engines, none of that mess. Then what you're going to do is we're going to carefully, and I do mean carefully, pinky up, because I'm a gentleman, and you're going to begin taking off a little bit at a time. Now, some potters trim all their bottoms, and some don't have bottoms trimmed. For me, it's a matter of preference, and how you were taught. My master always had us trim. And not only that, but let's face it, who wants a sloppily cut, untrimmed bottom? I mean, it's just depressing. It scratches your furniture, it looks big and sloppy, and the pottery doesn't look good either. So, what I like to do is I get a good trim on it, and I'm going to take it down. It's kind of the same kind of tool a horseshoer uses, like a farrier, to clean out the inside of the hooves. But we're kind of doing the same thing with its little foot. Now, the hard part is, if you push too hard, you punch a hole through, and then you know what you have? A lovely candle holder. But we're not going to do that this evening. Now, the next thing I got to do is I want to square up this edge, and I'm going to start this process, and I'll raise my arm up. Forgive my big old hairy armpit. But I'm going to show you how much we take off, and I plan this when I throw them. See, the interesting thing is, I'm kind of a cross between pottery and sculpture. I love to trim. After all, who doesn't like trim? And then once you get this all done, most people are like, oh, I want a nice smooth surface, something lovely and smooth. Nah, I'm not like that. Nope. I like ridges and dents. I like the wonderful smoothness of some areas of the curve, but I like a nice strong foot. My God, that sounds filthy. Now, once we get this all done, and it does too, you're going to come in and I go, oh, you know what? I got some other interesting tools here. One of my most interesting tools that I use is actually a rib, because I kind of want to get a little more of a strong edge, and I think from your side you're seeing the finished end, and I'm seeing the end I'm working. Now, you may ask yourself, what is the point of going through all the trimming? Well, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, and God knows that, and $1.25 will get you a cup of coffee. I think it looks more finished, and it strengthens it. And I'll show you why now. What we're going to do is take a little moist sponge. It should be moist. Ever notice how you can't sound very manly with the name moist? I don't care if you're a big lumberjack, 300-pound, 6-foot guy going, excuse me, it's moist. You never sound manly when you say moist. But it should not be dripping wet. You do not want your bottom dripping wet. It's never good. Instead, you just want it a little moist. Because you're going to moisten this edge nice and gentle like this. You're going to round it out like this, and a little more like this. And then you're going to take the finger of power. We all know which finger that is. And you're going to go in and you're going to start to smooth and compress that. The reason I like to do that is you press down when you threw the cup from the inside. Now you're pressing from the outside down. And it kind of swooshes the walls. It's a very technical term here, swooshing. And then you're going to go here and we're going to round out those little bit of divots I made. And you're going to ask yourself, why did you bother making the divots? I'm going to show you. Because this is going to be one of the few cups I make that is going to have what my customers have asked for, because I don't do a lot of this, because now that I'm hand glazing, I hate lacing. We're going to do this. Now watch carefully. It's going to look like I'm scribbling, but it's not. It's not scribbling, it's actually rhythm. So let's see here. Now with this new clay, bugger it all, they don't make 245 white anymore, which is my favorite clay of almost 20 years. It just bothers me when you find a product that really works and they go, yoink, try something new. If you look at comfortable with change and likes new, that's not really me. I like the routine. I do. No, I'm not someone who eats oatmeal every day. That was last year. I do like some variety in my world, but when it comes to my clay, I like consistency. But this one's not a bad clay. It's just a little grout. I got to remove all these little buggers. It's not the worst when you have boogers all over your clay. I hate that. This clay tends to be boogery. I'm going to sign the bottom of it. Then, I'm going to peel the mother's arms off. Oomph! Like so. And I had a baggie here besides this baggie. God. Well, I'll have to use this baggie for now. I'm going to stick that in there with a little sprinkling of water, because I'm only doing one tonight. Hey, don't look at me that way. I've been going since 4 in the morning. I got up and I worked a full bloody day. I gave my students testing. I'm counting glass eyes, which, by the way, is going to be a cool project I'm going to post later. But I actually, thanks to Freddie, learned how to make glass eyes, and my kids are going to do paper mache masks with glass eyes. It's going to be really awesome. But I came home. My mate had made a delicious little mini shepherd's pies, and they're really good. And then I went out and I did 2.5 hours out in the front yard. Then my son came about with his friend, and then they came over and we hung out a bit. And okay, so I had a little ale. Not a lot of it, just a little ale. And then I came down here to do this. So I kind of deserve to be a little busy. Ooh, I didn't mash it too bad. That's good, that's good. I'm gonna round out that lip a little easier. That's better. And there you have it. On the inside and the outside. See the little Celtic knot? There you go. Right? Now, you may say, oh, it's a cup, it's a cup. No, it's not a cup yet. Matter of fact, it's at the halfway point. Now, I've already pre-thrown my handles, because trust me, pulling handles is nothing anybody wants to see. It looks filthy. And then after we get the handle on it, we're going to probably sculpt it. I don't know. It's kind of a small cup. It may or may not deserve a dragon. I'm not sure yet. But my tea drinkers out there are like, we want dragon cups. We want them small. Not everyone wants to drink an entire gallon at once. And I always say, hey, life is not dependable. It's a dangerous place out there. I drink as much as I can any chance I get. Now, we're going to grab one more baggie. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to steal this. Ooh, that's not good. And then what we're going to do is we're going to steal this bag here. We're going to double bag it for your protection. Yes, double bagging is always important. Now, I have 3 trimmed and another 8 to go. And then I've got some goblets here I'm going to be assembling. Ooh, did I just hear someone cheer in Pennsylvania? Anywho, it's probably just my imagination. But we're going to get that done. It's a little after 9. We're working on this, we're working on that, we're working outside. It'll all be good. But until we see each other again on this coming Wednesday, you be good. Enjoy life. It's a short and risky affair. Take all the joy you can snatch out of it while you can. You be well, and we'll see you next Wednesday.